Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Halifax Raiders draft goal franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we finally did it. We won the Stanley Cup. It only took like 23 seasons. And yeah, it was just an incredible run this team had, and I was not expecting us to go on a tear and win the Stanley Cup this season. Because it was a very weird season. I will kind of like explain how our season went. So basically, early on in the season, we had to deal with some RFAs because we were very tight on the cap space situation. We didn't get off to a little bit of a rocky start to the season, but in the second half, we started to find ourselves. We finished 46, 32, and 4, so it wasn't our best season by any means, but we did make the playoffs. Then it comes to the playoffs, and our team honestly embraces that kind of like cheese mentality. We end up sweeping the Tampa Bay Lightning, who were the second best team in the Eastern Conference. Then we end up taking out the Florida Panthers, who end up winning the President's Trophy as we took them out in 7 games. So that was a huge upset right there. Then we swept the Washington Capitals in the conference finals, who was the third best team in the Eastern Conference. So we knocked out the top 3 teams in the East. And then we took out a St. Louis Blues team that was pretty similar to us. So it was a pretty damn good run. And I am very, very proud of how this team managed to win a Stanley Cup this late in the series, because we're pretty much now in the end game. We only have like 2 more seasons left or so before the series is almost officially over. And then we could start our throwback Nashville series, which is going to be interesting. But it's kind of crazy how fast the series has gone in a sense, but you could just see like the amount of depth scoring our team, I think, went a huge way in terms of winning us the Stanley Cup this year, because we had so many guys over 10 points, and then some guys with some really good defensive stats like Booz and Cardwell. Both those guys were rocks on the blue line. And in our goaltending performance, obviously having 290 overall goalies did go a long way, I would say. Burkov wasn't really the best through 5 games, but Zadorov was fantastic, and I honestly thought he would have won the Conn Smythe, but he did not. So very interested to see what our team's looking like next season, because we do have a lot of guys that are pending free agents. So I'm going to try and maintain this roster as much as possible, obviously going into next season. But there is a chance that we're probably going to lose a few players at least this offseason, my guess. But anyways, before we get into that, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about our Stanley Cup win, because there's quite a bit of comments. So the first comment is from Ian.Nolove, who says, I'm a part of history, that one guy who is here from the first episode till now, witnessing Raiders hoisting a Stanley Cup. I'm proud of the team and everyone involved. I told you numerous times we're going to do it, never give up and push all the limits. History, I love this franchise no matter what. Snipe, you deserve it. And yeah, there's times where I was definitely in doubt with this team, especially last year when we got reverse swept. But then this team kind of embraced, like I said, that G status going into the playoffs a little bit. And then from there on out, we managed to knock out all these really good teams. And basically, once we knocked out the Panthers, I thought we could literally knock out anybody in the playoffs. So I was very, very impressed with just how this team managed to embrace that cheese status and win that Stanley Cup. The next comment is from Shankly Mania, who says, congrats to the whole city of Halifax for grabbing that cup finally. It definitely took some time, but it's definitely not about the destination. It's about the journey, and what a journey we had, buddy. Been here since the first episode, and Raiders didn't let me down eventually. Now time for some franchise watching vacation. We'll be back when the next Draft to Glory series begins. It's not cheese, it's EA chemistry, boys. But yeah, I guess you can't say like EA chemistry is basically cheese, but also because like we technically didn't have the best overall roster in terms of like rating and whatnot, but I guess the cheese is technically chemistry. It's almost like the cheese is like very melted, so it's basically interwoven through each player. The next comment is from Jacob Leone, who says, congrats, you freaking did it in the waning hours of this franchise mode against all odds. You're a cheese bender. The constipation I have as a result of the cheese consumption is well worth it. You played the cheese perfectly this season. The roster is legendary. Make sure Willem gets a ring. Maybe the boys could cheese together back-to-back cups. Well, let's find out. And back-to-back cups is quite a feat if we're able to do it with this roster. But who knows what could happen, honestly, with this game at this point, because this team, I don't know if they should have won the Stanley Cup necessarily, but they definitely proved it in the playoffs that they deserved it. But with guys like Lehman dropping down a lot, and obviously we just lost Ahin into retirement, I don't know if back-to-back cups is doable, but you really never know, because if we get this team of depth scoring in the playoffs again, maybe we can. I don't know if we make the playoffs even this upcoming season. It's going to be really interesting to see what's ended up happening in these final few seasons. The next comment is from Santa Rotaka. Says almost a bittersweet result since Wilm wasn't actually on the ice for it, but let's say he celebrated from the luxury suites of the VP of hockey operations with Sheriff being one of his advisors. It looks like the plus minus is what put Richter over the top for the Conn Smythe, as he was one of the highest among the players with the same point totals. Definitely unusual given his comparatively low overall ranking when he was drafted and what his career stats have been up to this point. Either way, Zadorov was more worthy of the award, fair wins, and following C's to Ahinen. And Richter was drafted in the late first round of 2033, so 13 years ago. I don't remember exactly what happened in 2033 and why. I guess we would have made the playoffs if we finished 25th. But let's see his career stat line, because I actually don't really know. He's got 358 points in his 728 career games. And he's never had more than how many points in a season? He's never had more than 50 points. 50 points was his most when he scored 32 goals. I think that was his rookie season too, or something like that, right? Something like that. No, that was his second season in the NHL. Yeah, early in his career, he was a pretty damn good goal scorer. And then it definitely started to plateau when we were using him more as like a third/fourth line center, because we had Ahinen, we had FPZ still, I think, during some of this time frame. So yeah, he hasn't been that same type of guy since. But then in the playoffs, obviously his performances in the playoffs is actually a lot better than it is regular season wise. Even the year we went to the Cup Finals back in 2040, he also had 20 points in 23 games. So he's up to 70 career points in 114 playoff games. So he's more of a guy that shows up in the playoffs in regular season, which is kind of interesting. Like his shooting percentage actually goes up by 2.6%. So yeah, Ricardo Richter is almost like a, I don't know, like a JG Pajot type of guy that just steps up when it gets to those clutch moments, I guess. The next comment is from Ezra Hambrick, who says, when you said you never been to Chuck E. Cheese, I was shocked, but then I remembered I never been there either. And finally, the Raiders win their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. And yes, sir. And also, yeah, Chuck E. Cheese, I've never been there before. I don't know really what it's like in there, but I've seen commercials for it back in the day on, like, if you live in Canada, you know, like YTV and stuff like that. I think Americans probably saw like commercials for it probably on like, they probably had commercials for it, I would assume, in America, because I think Chuck E. Cheese is in the States too, right? So I'm trying to remember, like probably like Disney Channel or some random shit like that. The next comment is from Tyler G 1994, who says, finally, sad it couldn't happen without Wilm, but he definitely would have been in the organization to help out, so he didn't miss the celebration. I'll drive up to Halifax for the parade. And yeah, I guess that makes sense for you, considering you live out in Nova Scotia. The next comment is from Souls, who says, as a fan of this team for 23 years, I never thought I'd see it happen. Destiny, and it's kind of funny just you saying fan of this team for 23 years. It almost sounds like this team actually existed for 23 years. But yeah, 23 seasons. It took a long time to get to this point, but we finally have done it. And were we ever in doubt? Yeah, I guess we were. But I mean, with this roster, there's a lot of kind of unsung kind of guys on this team, so I guess it was going to eventually happen at some point, but who knows, maybe it would have happened once we would have ended franchise mode in 25 years. The next comment is from Joseph D. Miller, who says, congrats, glad to get the cup after all these virtual years. And yes, sir, I am as well. It took a long time, like I said, to get to this point, and to finally get it, it feels very, very good. And then our final two comments are from Logan May. The first one says, lots of love for Ahinen, who would have been a top 15 player all time if he had retired in 2024. Underrated player, Channel Hall of Fame. And yeah, I would say probably Ahinen was a Channel Hall of Famer. He had over 1,500 career points. Very good passing stats. Obviously, playing next to Wilm really helped that, but still, he was a phenomenal player for quite a long time. Also, Logan says, also don't forget about my signing trick and sign Burkhoff if the cap is there. Don't forget RFAs. Your team did well with the two walls in net. So he actually wants us to re-sign Burkhoff potentially if we have the cap space available, based on what he was suggesting to us last offseason. So I'm going to go to find that old comment. There it is. So then I can have it open, so that way when we get to the re-sign stage, we can kind of keep that in note. So that way I know his way of doing things. But there we go. Those were the comments we got in last episode. So I think we are ready to get into another draft. Obviously, this draft is not going to matter too much, so I'm not even going to really kind of try too much to get anything hugely good. I know there is a couple low leads that I was interested in, but I honestly don't really think it matters at this stage. But we're definitely going to still try to find a few good players. But this draft really doesn't mean anything, because we have basically this upcoming season and I think one more season left, and then this franchise mode is done. Okay, so now that we're done the comments, let's get into the draft and see what we could snag up here. Like I said, I think I pinned a few low elites if I'm not mistaken. So let's just take a look at what those low elites are looking like. Because obviously we're late in the first round. So yeah, we're probably going to end up just taking Brodin because he's a low elite power forward. So he would be somebody that would definitely probably make our NHL team once this franchise mode's over, which is interesting. And then there's also Hartikainen, who I have some interest in as well, since he's a low elite power forward too. So we're likely going to draft both those guys at least. I don't know if I'm going to find anything else interesting, but we'll see if we find them or not. Let's still take a look at this top 5 of the draft for fun, even though it doesn't really matter. But Carolina's going to take Germain, who's a 79 overall two-way forward. Sasha Germain. Interesting. And then he also has all alone instead. Vancouver is going to take a 75 overall medium elite. Yeah, this might actually be a pretty weak draft class. Based on these overall ratings, yeah, this draft class is maybe one of the worst ones we've seen at this stage because Walters isn't even NHL ready. Damn. Well, that's kind of good that we're obviously having weaker draft classes because, like I said, I'm not going to focus too much on some of these drafts. There's another 79 overall medium elite, Jose Madsen, two-way defenseman. Looks pretty solid. I'm kind of surprised the Canucks didn't take him at number 2. Detroit's going to take a 77 DFD in Beach, Keith Beach. Interesting. So a couple of good defenders going on early on. And there's another 75 medium elite grinder. Interesting. In Mike Sod. What a name, Mike Sod. Seems like such a boring name, Mike Sod. He's got truculence too. Interesting. So that's a cool top 5. But yeah, this is definitely a weaker class because nobody is an 80 overall plus, which is really weird. So let's into our pick at 33 and see if we can grab that low elite. We should be able to grab that low elite. You can see these other guys are not really looking that good. They're looking like medium 9s, which I'm not really into. There is this guy who could be good, but I don't think he's actually that good. He could be just a top 6 forward. So I think we're going to probably just end up going for that guy I had, which is Matthias Brodin. So let's take Brodin here with our last pick in the first round and see how good he was. Obviously, he's going to be a low elite, but how good of a low elite? Hopefully pretty solid. 64 overall, that's pretty decent. That is pretty decent. I don't think he'll make it before the series ends just based on the time factor, but you never know. That's a pretty solid one, though. Would be a good player to build around on this team just based on the fact that we have a lack of centers, and he would be a good one for the future. We could always play him in the AHL right away if we want to, but I don't know. Okay, so the next low elite was like way late in the draft. There is a gem in Braden Holwig. We could always use more defensive prospect. He has no ETA though, which is weird. So I'm a little bit skeptical about the gem status. But since he's listed as a gem, I think I'm going to just take a chance on him. So let's just take a chance on the gem and see if he's good. I hate that it goes all the way to the next round. That's friggin' annoying. I wanted to see what he is. Low 4. I was thinking that. Low 4 DFD. Maybe he becomes something, maybe he doesn't. I've seen low 4s pan out before. Our next pick at 99. Are we going to find the next Gretzky? I'm joking. There's a medium 9 in Ehrhoff. But he's 20 years old. 3 years out. That's not terrible that he's 3 years out, but do I want to take a 20-year-old? In general, this draft class looks like trash. There's a medium 6 though there in Michael Zherdev. He's 5 years out, but he has potential, so we're going to just take him. I'm not even going to look at his overall because I'm going to guess it's like a 50-something. Let's into our next pick at 132. And maybe we'll take that other low elite now if he's still available. Which I think he is, right? Yeah, he's supposed to go next round probably, but we're going to take him already. Let's take Hartikainen. He's probably low overall too. Let's take a look at how good he is, though, just because he could be something decent. 55 overall power forward, not bad. Yeah, see, we would have some nice guys to build around down the road if they were able to generate enough growth. Okay, we have a couple more picks to go. Our 5th, our 6th, and our 7th. I don't know if I'm going to even really make these selections just because there's probably not really much good out here. I mean, we could take a chance that some of these guys are low elites. A lot of these guys are overagers, though. That might be low elite, which kind of sucks. Yeah, I think I'm going to auto-sim the rest of this draft class, to be honest. So we're going to auto-sim the rest of the draft because we're at that stage where I don't really care too much. We get afterwards, we get Ivanov, or Ivani, I should say, not Ivanov. Raycroft and Lundqvist, their last 3 picks. That's okay. I don't really care what we get in those draft classes, but let's get to the re-sign stage because this is the most important part. We got to re-sign our AHL head coach. So let's do that. Let's give him a little bit more money because we're nice like that. There we go. And then we'll also probably have to re-sign some scouts likely. Yep. Okay. Our scouting pool is getting worse and worse, but that's okay because we're not even trying to really focus too much on these drafts. So, coming up. Okay, so I think it's only these 3 scouts that need to be signed, but let me double check. Yep, only those 3. Okay, good. Now we're into this very interesting stage, the re-sign stage. Who is going to be leaving the team after our cup win? Hopefully nobody. But obviously we're going to have to follow the way that that Logan laid out. So day 1, send offers to all guys who want one-way deals at 85% of their asking price. Okay, so let's open up a calculator here. This is going to maybe take a little bit to do, but we are going to try this out. So obviously we're going to start with like Del Rivera. This is going to probably take, probably a little bit just because we have to see what each guy wants. So 85% of their asking price for every UFA that we actually want to bring back. So we're going to try 7.6 around, I guess, for... Yeah, it's going to be 7.6 for Del Rivera. We have $69 million in cap space. That's really nice, actually, that we have that much cap space. But we do have to re-sign almost everybody on our team, I feel like. Let's do... Hamalainen, I'm going to do a 1-year deal as well. He wants 10.4. He wants to get paid more money than Del Rivera, which is interesting. So I'm going to try and get him signed up. Not times 85. I want to do times 0.85. Let's see if I could get him down to 8.85. I think this is around. Yeah, this is going to be still a pricey offseason nonetheless. There you go. Let me actually go to the RFAs already and then qualify them all. Am I supposed to qualify all the RFAs? Probably. Just double checking that I'm doing this right. Yeah, we're going to just qualify all the RFAs for a second here. And just qualify them all. And we'll probably decide to do what we do with them when it comes to the actual time frame. But let's qualify them all. Unless they want 2-way deals. Which none of these guys do so far. But these guys want 2-way deals. So I'll assign the guys to 2-way deals. I don't think it really matters too much if I sign these guys already. So somebody just want like max 2-way deals, which is kind of crazy, but it is what it is. Humphreys, you're gonna get a 1-year AHL deal. That's good. Morgan, do I need Morgan back? I'll have to wait on that for a second here. Okay, let's go back to UFAs and continue to do this stuff. So Chucky obviously has to come back as well. Oh my goodness. Chucky, you're going to get a 1-year deal at that price point. Jeez, I didn't expect some of that asking price. I like Chucky a lot though, but $12 million is a lot of money. We might have to re-sign a lot of these guys again next offseason, but it is what it is. So we're going to try and get him for 10.4. Yeah, 10.4. I do like Booze also a lot based on his playoffs. That seems weird when you just said it. I like Booze. No, I don't really drink that up much alcohol. So let's see. 5.85 times 0.85. We'll see if we can knock you down to 4.975. Yep, 4.975. I like Nico Ramo as well. He's only 25. So I am okay with locking him up for the rest of the series. So 7.15 times 0.85. What does he want? 6.1. Okay, that's still a little bit pricey, but we'll try and get him. We have Alan Lehman to worry about too. Lehman wanted a 2-year deal, which is kind of interesting at his age. But let's do the 1-year deal. 3.275. And we'll do that times 0.85 as well. And we'll see if we can get him down to 2.8. 2.8. Richter, you just won the Conn Smythe. We'll do a 1-year deal for you as well. This money situation is going to be interesting. 3.11 or something like that, or 125, I guess. There you go. Let me go to the bottom of this and let go of some people already, so I can kind of see what I already need to re-sign. Not gonna sign a lot of these guys, to be honest. Komatov, you're AHLer. You want a 2-way deal? You got that. We're gonna sign Dwyer to his ELC because he actually might make the NHL soon. Same with Tambolini. Heichel is gonna get let go of as well. I'm gonna let go of a couple, just kind of like depth options. Addison too. I might bring them back though. Who else do I want to let go of on this? I don't know exactly. Coop is kind of important, I'd say, to bring back a little bit as depth, but 2.9. And we'll still try the 85% trick. Some of these guys are probably going to reject anyways, so we're just kind of laying out the basis and seeing what they want first. So 2, 4, 7, 5. Burris has dropped down to an exact 7th defenseman. Huh. So pretty much like Cracknell. But he is the same age. Dodge was playing in the AHL all year. I'm going to let go of Dodge as well for now, but he might come back. And we have an abundance of defenders. We need these defenders, I think, too. Unless there's any former guys in free agency. But let's try and get 1-year deals for these guys as well. 2, 2, 5, 6. That's an interesting demand for contract-wise. Let me see. I did an extra 6 accidentally. And times that by 0.85. We might be able to get him for under $2 million bucks. So we'll try that for 1925. Cracknell. Let's try and get you as well on a 1-year deal. I'm going to try and just get back most of these kind of guys just because I feel like they're important. Let's do 0.85. 1530, so we'll go 1550. Mangone's actually younger, so if Cracknell doesn't accept, maybe I'll bring back Mangone instead. Mangone wants more money. I'm going to wait on Mangone for now. But I think that's all the contracts we got to dish out. Oh yeah, Burkov too, for that matter. I'm going to get rid of Mathers, speaking of matter. Burkov, what are you wanting again? If I have the cap space. I should probably wait till the last day, one of the last days, to send Burkov a contract. But he doesn't really want too much compared to last year on a 1-year deal. So I am going to try and get back Burkov, I think already, maybe? I don't know. I might wait on Burkov actually till one of the last days or whatever. So I just want to see if all these guys accept first, like the preliminary contract. So let's see if these guys accept. Anybody that rejects, we're going to have to offer 90% instead of their contract. So let's see if there was any rejections in there. I think I'm seeing some rejections. Wow, a lot of the UFAs rejected. Wow. I think that's like majority of the UFAs rejected. We're down to 65 million in cap space. A lot of those RFAs rejected the 85% trick. So we're going to have to now try 90% for this next day. So yes, and again, this is going to take a lot of work, but we are going to have to try our best to get this team back again. That's why we're taking a little bit more time with this contract stuff now. Obviously, after winning a Stanley Cup, it's not the biggest problem if our team's not good, but obviously it would be nice to still be a playoff team in the last few seasons. So let's see. What about Hamalainen? Let's see. 1-year deal for Hamalainen, and we'll do that times that by 0.9. I think, did I make a mistake with the other one? I might have made a mistake with the first one about the 0.9. I don't know if I did actually 0.9. I might have done 0.85 again accidentally. But we'll adjust that once we get to the next day, I guess. Raymond. We'll do a 1-year deal as well for you. Just because I do not... I don't know. He's worth the money in a sense because of his goal scoring ability, but it's also kind of scary. So we'll do 0.9. So $11 million. So we'll go to, yeah, basically this should work if he likes that. This is going to be still a very pricey contract dispute with a lot of these guys, I think, but hopefully we save some money with Logan's method. So we'll do this. Okay, that's good. Ramo. I liked Ramo, so I was going to actually give him the 4-year deal. Trying to remember what I was giving term-wise to all these guys. It's kind of tough to remember a lot of this stuff, but oh well. 6.435, so we'll try a 6.45. Layman as well. He wants a 2-year deal. I could honestly just give him the 2-year deal, even if he doesn't play those 2 years. So we're going to just give him the 2-year deal he's asking for, and maybe that will help both things a little bit contract-wise, because before we were trying to offer him 1 year. So I'm going to try and get him for $30.75. Richter. Richter was a 1-year deal, and he wants $3.65. Obviously, he's going to get more of an elevated ice time this year because Ahinen's gone, I think. But let's try and get him for $3.285 around. So 3.3. And then we were going to wait on Coop, I think it was. No, actually, we weren't waiting on Coop. It was all these guys we were offering contracts to, I think. Coop wants 2.9. I hope we could get literally all these guys back, because it would be very nice just to kind of maintain this roster for the rest of this franchise mode, so to speak. Because obviously losing some of these guys now at this stage, we don't really have the youth to replace a lot of them. So Cracknell wanted 1.71 for, oh my goodness. I hate when my mouse does not click properly. 1.711 times 0.9 is down to 1550. And then we also have Mangone. Oh yeah, Mangone was the one we were waiting on. He was the only UFA we waited on, and same with Burkov. Okay, let's advance and see if those guys accept now at 90%. Okay, so we're getting our scouts back, which is good. Looks like some guys are accepting their contracts. Some of them are rejecting, or actually a good portion of them rejected. So we still have to sign Hamline and Raymond, Booze, Lehman, Coop, Cracknell. Okay, so these guys are getting 95% now. Okay. I think it's because I'm manipulating what these guys are wanting contract-wise in terms of their length. Let's see. Let's try this one more time. So we got to do 95% now. A lot of you guys are probably going to be clicking off the video at this point, my guess, but I am just trying my best to make sure we keep this roster. Then again, if you've watched this entire series, you probably don't really care. Because a lot of these episodes lately have been pretty long. So, okay, Raymond. You know what? We're going to give Raymond the 4-year deal at this point because I need him locked up until next year as well. Even if he cashes out and doesn't do well this year, I need him locked up. So we're going to try and lock him up, which is going to be a very pricey contract, but it is what it is. We're going to have to give him $12 million for 4 years, I think. Yep. That's a lot of money, but he's kind of worth it with his goal scoring. So it is what it is. We'll see if he accepts that. Hopefully he does, because I do like Chucky a lot. And I think he's kind of becoming a fan favorite on this series too. So let's do 5.525. We got Lehman on the 2 years. He wants 3.4. 0.95. He wants to get 3250. Coop 2.9. I hope all these guys accept. It would be really nice. Please, all of you guys accept, so I don't have to keep on negotiating and risking losing some people. We do also still have to get the free agency and see if there's any former players to re-sign. Let's see. Cracknell wants 1.71. That's right. And we'll do 95% trick, which is 1625 rounds. So we'll do that. And Mangone. I'm going to try Mangone to bring him back now, just because I feel like he's kind of important in case we lose a different defender. So we are going to give him a deal. And we're also going to try the 95% trick with him. And that is going to be around this. Okay, let's see if all those guys accept. And if they do, we still have to resign Burkov. And we have all of our RFAs still, which those guys shouldn't eat up too much money. But let's advance today and see if all those guys accept. Hopefully these guys accept those 95% contracts. And we got like 3 rejections in there. Hämäläinen, Coop, Cracknell, and Mangone. Actually, so 4. And we're only down to $33 million in cap space. I do like Hämäläinen a lot, so what is the next thing we do for day 4? Send 1 year deals to anyone left who refused their asking price. Okay, so basically, I give all these guys exactly what they're asking for Warden. It's going to be tough, though, because some of them might not want that, but we're going to try actually, we're going to try and negotiate a little bit with them. Give them a little bit more than what they're asking for 1 year only. And maybe that will help out things. I know it's going to cost us a lot, but let's see if I could get these guys all back, please. And yeah, that should be decent. And then Burkov, I feel like I should still give Burkov a contract. Because Burkov's an interesting one, because we do have the goalie in the system to take over a spot. But I need to make sure I have enough money first. So I want to make sure, obviously, those RFAs are important. So let's get all these UFAs back first. See if we have the cap space for Burkov before all these RFAs. If we don't, then we obviously won't be signing Burkov again. Let's see. Okay, so we got 2 rejections in there. Hämäläinen, actually 3. Why did it only show 2, I thought? We're almost near the end of the UFA status, which is kind of scary. So Hämäläinen still rejecting. We're going to give him exactly what he's trying to get now. It's not, I know it's not a 1 year deal, but still I need him just locked up pretty much at this stage. Let's try and give Coop a little bit more money. We're going to try and get Mangone. Actually, Mangone I could wait on probably. I have seen him, I think, at the start of the season free agency-wise. So I'm going to wait on Mangone. He's likely going to get dropped just for now. And Burkov will probably get dropped as well, potentially, because Jacobson might ask for a good chunk of change. So let's advance the day again. Wait, let me stop the simulation here. Okay, maybe not stop the simulation. We did get almost everybody back. So Coop is signed. The big one we need to sign here is Hämäläinen. I don't think we're going to have the money after signing Hämäläinen to get Burkov back. And I think we kind of need Hämäläinen more in a sense. If we lose Burkov, it's not the end of the world. These RFAs, how much are they going to cost us? Yeah, Jacobson's going to cost us like 5 million maybe around. Booze might be like 2.5 or something. Colborn's going to be cheap. Kavanov's going to be pricey because he's a defenseman. Erat's going to be cheap. So, I think we should be okay. I think we should be okay in terms of getting all our RFAs back and Hämäläinen. Maybe offering Burkov a contract. It's hard to say. Let me do some quick math here and see how much money we actually would spend on all of our RFAs at their current asking prices. So 7.1 would be on Jacobson. Obviously, we're not going to be spending that right now, but just hypothetically, if we were to pay all these guys exactly what they're asking for, because they will get that or less. Colborn, trying to get 1925. Let's see. And then we have Kavanov, who's kind of more expensive because he's a defenseman, because for some reason Demon always asks for a ton of money. That's $19 million already. And then we have 115. Let's see, how much does that cost? $20 million. So that leaves us with $10 million only. So, yeah, I think we could only sign Hämäläinen in the RFAs. Because basically Hämäläinen's going to cost us the $10, $11 million. These RFAs, their costs are going to go down. However, we will still be close to the cap at that spot. So, unfortunately, I do think this is Burkov's last time here. Unfortunately, guys, if my math is correct, I apologize because I know I wanted to hold on to him for you guys too. He's been a fantastic goalie throughout his career, but after 483 games in a Stanley Cup, it looks like he's going to have to leave, unfortunately, which means Mauricio McKenzie will be our backup next season, which I'm okay with doing, but I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be a little bit sad that he has to leave, but also the fact we have to make sure these RFAs get signed. We can't have that same situation as last year, and we will try and get Hämäläinen back. I'm kind of prioritizing Hämäläinen over him, which is kind of weird, but do I need to prioritize Hämäläinen? Let me double check on this. I think I do because of the forward depth. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's not terrible. Dwyer could jump into, but losing Hämäläinen is losing one of our best forwards basically at this stage. And that's where I'm a bit more skeptical. So I think we got to still sign Hämäläinen over Burkov because that forward depth is important. I think Mauricio McKenzie will do just fine as a backup, obviously behind Zadorov. So obviously if I didn't give Zadorov as much money as he wanted last season, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation, but I think this is important for the team to bring Hämäläinen back first over our boy in Burkov. It kind of sucks, but we got to do it. So let's do 11.3. That should get it done. It's a good chunk more. Mangone's not going to come back as well, but he might come back at the start of the season if he wants a two-way deal, but right now he's not coming back. And yeah, Burkov, obviously, I'm not going to do the let go of him there thing. I'm going to just let him go afterwards, but it should be good. I mean, actually, can I just qualify? Nah, I might end up losing Morgan in the AHL too, but I think that's good. Yep, let's see if Hämäläinen accepts. If he doesn't, we'll have to re-sign him in free agency. And he did reject it, so I am going to have to re-sign him in free agency. Interesting. And the AHL coach did not want to come back, apparently. Okay, so Burkov is gone, but we are going to have to sign Hämäläinen. I am kind of scared that he might sign with a different team, but he's probably our top priority, bringing him back. I offered him even more money. He does have 2 teams interested in him. He's now trying to get 11.25 and an extra year of contract. Oh, come on, man. Let's give you 11.65. I need Hämäläinen back. I need him. So we'll do that. Hey, look, there's Nicholas Paco. So there is some former players, but I'm not going to bring anybody back with this current contract situation. So Burkov has no interest from any teams. Maybe he'll drop his asking price enormously, and that will be able to bring him back, but I doubt it. So Hämäläinen's contract has been sent out. I think we're ready to continue simulating and see if he accepts. I don't think there's anything else I need to do this offseason, right? Was there a coach that retired? I think so, but in the AHL. I'm not too focused on the AHL anymore at this stage either. We already have our NHL coaching staff, so hey, we're going to advance a few days and see if Hämäläinen accepts already. And also, like I said, if Burkov drops his asking price a lot, maybe I can bring him back. But right now, those RFAs are still #1 priority. Did Morgan accept that contract, though, in the AHL? Out of curiosity, I think he should have, right? Yes, he did. Okay, good. So McHammond and Morgan would be in the AHL. And then, yeah, it's McKenzie and Zadorov, potentially. Yeah, but see, McKenzie's jumped up to an 81. It's not terrible to let go of Burkov at this stage. I know it seems weird to let go of a great goaltender who's been with your team for so long, but we might not honestly need to bring him back, especially with our money situation. But will Hämäläinen come back? Please, Hämäläinen, don't leave. Don't leave me, because or else that's going to hurt our offense quite a bit. He just wants a lot of money because of the playoffs and stuff, I guess. Come on, Hämäläinen, please. One more day. Will he accept? He does accept. Thank you. We may have paid him a lot more money than he needed, but we do get Hämäläinen back, which is huge. And we're down to $19 million, and we have only these 5 RFAs. I could honestly give Erat what he's asking for almost already, because he is going to be an NHL player next season, so he will be a UFA, though. That's the only problem. You know, I'm going to wait on a couple of these guys. I hope they don't get qualified by any teams, but we're pretty good. We have the money to sign all of our RFAs, I think, which is good. Not like last season. Did Burkov already sign anywhere free agency-wise? I'm curious on that, because he's one of the better goalies out there. No, he's still out there, but he does have interest from 4 teams now. So yeah, Mateo Burkov is gone. we got to salute him because he's not going to come back in the series just because money situations. Where is he going to sign? Who knows? Let's see what teams are interested in him. Buffalo, Vancouver, Boston, and the Rangers. Okay, that's interesting. Buffalo, Boston, and the Rangers. It's a lot of Eastern Conference teams, which is kind of scary, but oh well. Let's begin the sim up to next season. And also, if there's any former players still in free agency at the start of the season, we could potentially sign some of them. And, oh no, we're going to have to match Erat's offer because Detroit's trying to qualify him. Erat's going to come back. Let me see about the other guys. Because at this stage, I just want to make sure nobody else is taking my boys. So, Jacobson, what are you wanting? Hey, 1 year at 5.5 is not bad. It's a pretty good drop off. 3 million, that's 8.5. We might have actually had the cap space. I don't know, actually, because Kavanaugh still wants 5.5 as well. And we probably would have been like over the cap if we would have brought Burkov back. So let's get Jacobson on his 1 year deal at 5.5. I'm okay with doing that. Booze wants 3. I'm okay with that. Colborn, I'm okay with 16.25. And Kavanaugh still wants a multi-year deal. However, I think defense is just going to get more and more expensive, so let's give him what he's asking for as well, I think. Yeah, actually, maybe I'll try and drop it off a little bit. Let's try and get him down to 5.5 or 3 years at 5 million. I think that's a reasonable contract, considering he's only an 80 overall, and he's going to be one of our top defenders. So, let's do that and see if our RFAs accept those contracts. Booze accepts. Jacobson does. Colborn does. Kavanaugh does. Nicely done, guys. Okay. Okay, we were able to afford our entire team back for the most part. Burkov did leave, though, which is still kind of sad, but also Mauricio McKenzie is a future good goaltender, so I'm okay with the loss as much as it hurts. But Burkov will definitely go down as probably the best goalie in Halifax history, in a sense, just based on the amount of games he's played with us. Okay, let's see our contract situation. How much money do we got? 8.325. I don't know. We might have actually been able to just barely afford him. Maybe I could have brought Burkov back to this team. I didn't realize I was going to have that much cap space, but we would have been very close to the cap floor. I think he was trying to get more free agency-wise too. But McKenzie has jumped to an 84. It's not a substantial drop-off really that much. Like, our goaltending still looks phenomenal without Burkov, so I think it's okay. Obviously, I don't really want to run an 84 in the AHL either, so let's take a look if there's any former players I want to still bring in just to give us more depth. Oh, there's Mangone, there's Fragapane. I already see 2 guys, but do I need them? Do I need those type of guys right now on our team? Let's take a look at our defensive situation here. Ooh, Burris dropped down to a 76. Ouch, I didn't realize he was going to drop down that much. He's only 32. God damn. Okay, maybe I can sign 2 of them then, and Bursch could get sent down to the minors. Maybe I didn't really need to bring back Bursch at this point. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is probably send Bursch to the AHL. I'm going to re-sign Mangone and bring in Fragapane just to give us more depth on defense. So we'll re-sign these guys, give them what he wants. We have the cap space too. Let me just make sure this is our former Fragapane. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. Wow, we drafted him 15th overall. That was not a really great selection, but it is what it is. Any other former players that are interesting curiosity-wise? Let's see. Don't see anybody in the goalie department. Defensively, do I see anybody else other than ones we offered? Not really. Yeah, not really at all. What about forward-wise? It's always just good to build up that depth as much as possible. Center-wise, yeah, I don't see anybody else. Okay. Let me just advance a few days so we can see if those guys accept, which more than likely they will. So Mangone and Fragapane will be joining the team. There you go. Let's go to roster moves here and start setting up our team for the upcoming season. So, goalie-wise, that's good. Zadorov and McKenzie. McCammon jumped up to an 80 overall and was listed as a backup. Hypothetically, we don't even need like one of these goalies, which is kind of weird, but we are going to have to run McCammon in the AHL. But Zadorov and McKenzie will be the 1-2 punch this season. Defensively, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are going to send... We're going to call up Fragapane and Mangone. And Bursch is going to get sent down temporarily. He might come up at the playoffs if we get there again. Forward-wise, what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So likely our depth forwards this season will be Sexsmith and maybe Coop. Actually, maybe not Coop because he plays center. Oh man, it might have to be Layman. I don't know who is going to be the other depth forward. That's a weird one. I don't really want to be scratching somebody like Coop. I could always call up Karpatsev and send somebody else down, but who the hell would I send down to be in the AHL? Trying to think, because I'm not sending Layman down. Like, we technically do have one extra forward that I don't really need. Maybe we shouldn't have brought back Hamalainen, but I feel like he's a huge, important part to our team. He's listed as a second liner too. Okay, that's a weird one. We might have to scratch somebody that we don't want to scratch, but we do have a full roster, which is good. The only ones I would be interested in maybe bringing up is Dwyer, who's listed as a fourth liner. Karpatsev, who's a depth forward. But it's not important right now. Let's get our lines adjusted and see what we're working with. Hopefully we have a good looking roster. I think we have still a solid enough roster. Might even look better than next season, or last season almost in a sense. So first line right now is Raymond Boucher, Hamalainen, and Del Rivera is dropping off a little bit too fast, which is not great. But he is not going to be in the top 6 or what? Erat. Actually, I could do him as a second line center. Yeah, he could be the second line center. Erat is worse on the face-off dot, but we will probably use him as a winger. Layman is a fourth liner, something I don't really like though. Erat is listed as a checking forward. Is he better on face-offs than Coop? He's the exact same. We'll put him down the middle, Coop on the wing. Jennings is up to an 82. Damn, Jennings should actually technically be higher than Layman, but Layman's our captain now, so Colborne should not be scratched. So I'm going to have to probably do something kind of weird and scratch Coop so we get Colborne in. And this is what I would probably rock with for the offense. And those would be the depth guys. Defensively, we'd do Ramo, Cardwell, Booge, Cracknell. Doesn't work. Get rid of that minus. Come on. And I think that works a little bit. There's got to be a way to get Ramo into that top 4 though. No, apparently not. So we'd have to run with this for our defensive core. Okay, that might be something here. Yeah, that could work, I guess. Yeah, it could work. It could work. Yeah, our team looks actually not that bad, to be honest. I don't like scratching Coop. The other two I'm okay with scratching, but scratching Coop is a little bit problematic. Like, do we send Coop down just to get him playing time, and then we call up Karpatsev as depth just because he's actually listed as a depth forward? But I think our team actually looks not that bad. Obviously, Del Rivera's out of position, but still, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Power play wise doesn't look good right now. I don't know how to adjust this. Holy crap. Why is it so bad? We might have to find a new coach. Let me take a look at our current coach's scheme fit and then also look at our assistant coaches and see if there's a better coach out there. I know this episode's almost getting approached to an hour as well, but it is what it is. So Halavich obviously won us the Stanley Cup. He's a 64%. Let's demote him for a second. We got Palat. Palat is a 65%. Okay. And then we have our former head coach in Melikar, who's a 69%. So Melikar might be back to being the head coach again, which is interesting. Let me take a look at how good he fits our team, because he's more focused on defense. Let's see the chemistry. Forward-wise looks fantastic, 5-on-5. Defense looks pretty good. We might be actually able to get Ramo up there. No, we can't still. Oh, well. Defense and forward-wise looks good. Power play looks better. I think Melikar is going to become our head coach again. Obviously, we do need to still rework some of these power play lines and whatnot, but our team looks pretty decent. It looks pretty decent. It definitely should make it back to the playoffs again, which is exciting. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Halifax Raiders Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to another season simulation. This is our second last season, I'm pretty sure, in this franchise mode, as we look to make it back to the playoffs again and maybe cheese our way to another Stanley Cup. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.